Okay, good afternoon to everyone. So last time we talked about the statistical tools and how to choose statistical tools as posted here. So there were different kinds of statistical tools that we can use in terms of quantitative. So since we are focusing now on quantitative, um, Um, this presentation will show you on correlation and regression using examples and also how to apply it. And later on, we will be presenting also on how to um, use Excel no, in doing the correlation and regression. So before we start, may I know among of you here na have have remembered in your statistics about correlation and regression? Na remember ninyo? Okay, so I hope you have discussed this on your previous statistics. So this is just actually a sort of review of on your statistics, and I hope some of you will remember. If not, let's try to discuss this one after this presentation. So maybe we can start with our presentation.
Hello friends. In the last video of scatter plot, we had seen how to detect relationship between two or more variables by using scatter plot and looking at the trend of scatter plot. But only obvious relationships can be detected easily by looking at the graph. In some cases, it is not possible to judge the relationship between two variables only looking at the graph. But the good thing is that we can comment about the relationship between these variables using statistics. Yes, I am going to explain the use of statistics in determination of relationship between these variables as well as to predict the response of one variable if you know the value of another variable. So let's begin. Correlation. The term correlation is a combination of two words. Co means together and relation means connection between the two quantities. Correlation is when, at the time of study of two variables, a unit change in one variable is reacted by an equivalent change in another variable. Connection between the two quantities. The term correlation is a combination of two words. Co means together and relation means connection between the two quantities. Correlation is when, at the time of study of two variables, a unit change in one variable is reacted by an equivalent change in another variable, directly or indirectly. Or else, the variables are said to be uncorrelated when the movement in one variable does not show any movement in another variable in a specific direction. It is a statistical technique which represents the strength of connection between the pairs of variables. Correlation can be positive or negative. When the two variables move in the same direction, that is, an increase in one variable will result in corresponding increase in another variable and vice versa. Then the variables are considered to be positively correlated. For example, profit and investment. On the contrary, when the two variables move in the different direction in such a way that an increase in one variable will result in decrease in another variable and vice versa. This situation is known as negative correlation. For example, price and demand of a product. Correlation analysis. The degree of association is measured by a correlation coefficient denoted by R. It is sometimes called as Pearson's correlation coefficient after its originator. Degree of association is measured by a correlation coefficient of a product. Correlation analysis. The degree of association is measured by a correlation coefficient denoted by R. It is sometimes called as Pearson's correlation coefficient after its originator and is a measure of linear association. If a curved line is needed to express the relationship other and more complicated measures of correlation must be used. The correlation coefficient is measured on a scale that varies from +1 through 0 to -1. Complete correlation between two variables is expressed by either +1 or -1. When one variable increases as the other increases, the correlation is positive. When one decreases as the other increases, it is negative. Complete absence of correlation is represented by 0. This figure gives the some graphical representations of correlation.
Compliments and compliments. Everyone just loved my presentation, and I only spent 30 minutes on research. Others spent days on this research presentation. What a waste of time. If only they knew about Liner. Research was so fun.
Calculating correlation coefficient. This coefficient is easily calculated by using Microsoft Excel and Minitab very easily. Correlation coefficient by Excel. There are two simple methods to calculate the correlation coefficient in Excel. Method 1. Let's take an example of temperature of the day versus ice cream sale. To determine the correlation between these two variables, use a function correl. Type the function correl and select first variable column and apply comma. After that, select second variable column and press enter. We will get the value of correlation coefficient as 0.96. It means there is a strong relationship between variables. Method 2. Let's continue with the same example. To determine relationship between these two variables, use the analysis toolpack add-in in Excel to quickly generate the correlation coefficients between multiple variables. We need to execute the following steps. Step 1. On the Data tab in the Analysis group, click Data Analysis. Step 2. Select Correlation and click OK. Step 3. Select the range A1 to B13 as an input range. Check labels in the first row and select output range anywhere in the sheet or new worksheet option and click OK. We will get the final results as below. It is showing same value of correlation coefficient, that is 0.96. Indicates strong relationship between variables. Regression. We have seen that correlation describes the strength of an association between two variables and is completely symmetrical. The correlation between A and B is same as that of the correlation between B and A. However, if the two variables are related, it means that when one changes by a certain amount, the other changes on an average by a certain amount. If y represents the dependent variable and x independent variable, this relationship is described as regression of y on x. The relationship can be represented by a simple equation called as regression equation. In this context, regression simply means that the average value of y is a function of x, that is, it changes with x. The regression equation representing how much y changes with any given change of x can be used to construct a regression line on a scatter diagram. And in the simplest case, this is assumed to be a straight line. I am not going to further details as we can easily found it by using simple softwares like Microsoft Excel. Let's continue with the same example of temperature of the day and the ice cream sale to understand the regression analysis and how to interpret the summary output. Step 1. On the Data tab in the Analysis group, click the Data Analysis. Step 2. Select Regression and click OK. Select the Y range, that is B1 to B13. This is a predictable variable, also called as dependent variable. Step 4. Select the X range A1 to A13. These are the explanatory variable, also called as independent variables. These columns must be adjacent to each other. Check labels. Click in the output range box and select cell A16. You can select anywhere in the sheet as well as in the separate worksheet. Check residual and click OK. Excel produces the following summary output. Rounded it to the 3 decimal places. R square. R square equals 0.917, which is a very good fit. 92% of the variation in ice cream sale is explained by the temperature of the day. The closer to 1, the better the regression line feeds the data. Now let's see the significance F and p-values. To check if your results are reliable, that is statistically significant, look at significance F value, 0.000. If this value is less than 0.05, you are okay. If significance F is greater than 0.05, it's probably better to stop using this set of independent variables. Delete a variable with a high p-value that is greater than 0.05 and rerun the regression until significance F drops below 0.05. All p-values be below 0.05. In our example, this is the case, 0.015 and 0.000. Coefficients. The regression line is y is equal to ice cream cell, which is equal to minus 159.474 plus 30.088 into temperature of the day. In other words, for each unit increase in temperature, ice cream cell increases by 30.088 units. This is a valuable information. You can also use these coefficients to do a forecast. Residuals. The residuals show you how far away the actual data points are from the predicted data points using the equation. For example, the first data points equals 215. Using this equation, the predicted data points equals minus 159.474 plus 30.088 into 14.2, which is equal to 267.773, giving a residual of 267.773 minus 215, which is equal to minus 52.773. We can easily see in the diagram. Conclusion. With the above discussion, it is evident that there is a big difference between these two mathematical concepts, although these two are studied together. Correlation is used when the researchers wants to know that whether the variables are under study are correlated or not. If yes, then what is the strength of their association? In regression analysis, a functional relationship between two variables is established so as to make the future projections on events. Please do not forget to like the video if you have found it useful. Add your valuable comments and suggestions regarding this video as well as the channel. Share this video with all your friends and families who need it and subscribe.
Okay, so I guess that's all for correlation and regression, no, and its specific applications and meaning. So do you still remember this correlation and regression in your statistics? Anyone? Or is it your first time to hear correlation and regression? Hopefully dili would know. Anyone who would like to share? Yes, Jacqueline? John? Yes, John. Ma-remember ni mo ni na i-discuss ninyo?
Ma'am, pero wala pero wala naka-remember unsa na to.
It's all right kasi in statistics it's always like that, no? We always tend to forget whenever we don't use it anymore. So that's why it's also very mathematical. Kaya we have Excel to do it, and for further analysis sa inyong Excel, you can see mga statistical analysis, no? As you open sa Excel, you can see here mga functions, no, or formulas. So whether and more functions here, no, and you can actually count on make a formula on the average, sum, and maximum, no, and standard deviation, and there are a lot more actually. Like when you do the statistical, so these are the different statistical na available sa Excel, and you can just you know, we have correlation, we have regression ba, we have, let's, yeah, percentage is very common, mean, median, no, and making graph. So ito, regression. Okay, medyo wala dito. So z-test. So there are also other add-ons, no? So as we can, if we try to understand the video, when we say correlation, kung ano ang kanyang relationship, no? Ng dalawang data, like yung sales at saka temperature, ano ang relationship nilang dalawa? No? And it is said to be positive or negative. Positive kapag they go in one direction, no, increasing, and negative naman kapag they go in each other's direction, no, walang one direction. Na isa pataas, na isa pababa, no? So, and if you remember here, yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. If you can see here, itong R, which is the correlation, is can be positive or negative. Pag positive 1 siya, so positive pataas, and yung negative 1, yun yung may dalawang direction. And pag nakakatag lang na siya, it means 0 ang iyang R. And curve line, no, is another correlation. So sa regression naman, it's just a matter of the X and Y, no? Na it's a matter of X and Y na relationship. So for example, kapag nag-fall siya sa 1 or less, it's very strong correlation, no? Yan. So kung gaano naman ang ka-strong or yung strength ng correlation, yun ang tinatawag nating regression. And that's why it is actually have a formula of y is equal to ax plus b. So using the formula in the Excel, ayan, using two variables also, you can have this kind of regression statistics, no? Wherein still yung R square mo is 0.97. Yan. And if it's more than 0.05, that's 5% significant. Pag 0.01 naman, it's 1% significant. Ano nangyari? Okay, so do you have any questions or clarification on correlation and regression? Anyone? Okay, so for the meantime, while waiting for you to ask question, I'll just check the attendance. Wait lang. So, wala na ba yung mga pangutana regarding correlation and regression? Anyone? So maybe in your sa isang kasi quantitative ito eh. Although lahat ng mga social sciences or agribusiness research may fall under quantitative or but most specifically qualitative na siya. So you don't really have to use very much on statistics, especially correlation and regression, unless meron kayong like i-compare ninyo ang sales sa months or sa temperature or sa any variable. So don't worry much about it, no? And I can show you also next time some of social, pag ano ganin siya, pag qualitative siya, more on graphs lang siya, no? And I hope you know how to make graph when you do the Excel, no? Kabalo na ba mo, any one of you? Just insert column, line, pie, or bar, no? And if you are going to make a column, for example, this one, automatic na siya pag insert nimo, no? Pag i-click nimo na siya, dapat mag-select kag data. no? And for example, the imong data is let's say day 1, ay wait lang. Let's say day 1, day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 days. So magkano ang sales mo, for example, in day 1? Let's say 66, 54, 78, 33, 45, 90, 12. For example, ito yung sales mo, ito yung day, no? Day and sales. Now, you want to know pa-increase ba or ano yung in graph, no? Ano nangyari in terms of sales in just 7 or 14 days. So let's select the data. So let's say ang horizontal mo is horizontal mo ay itong 1 to 7, no? And then okay. And then yung ano mo, yung vertical mo ay ito, no? And then okay. So you can see sa graph na ang in 1 week's time, yung sales mo ay pinakamataas sa 6, no? 6 day. And then ano nangyari kaya sa 7th day, bakit pinakamababa na siya? So no. And sometimes like when you do the correlation, like ito wala naman itong correlation, no? Let's say mag-solve tayo ng correlation. Ito, no? More function, statistical correlation. Halimbawa, gagamit ka ng correlation, then okay. So, ito yung first mo, and ito yung second mo. Wait lang. First, okay. And second, okay. Few arguments daw. Dapat tulo. Okay. Lang. Anyway, I have a sorry, iba-iba. So pag qualitative naman, ito lang yung kailangan mo, no, graph, or you can make also pie graphs, no? Pie, choose mo lang yung chart type mo. For example, gawa ka ng pie. Pero for this, I don't know kung pwede itong maging pie. Yeah, pwede. No, if you want to know bawat graph din meron din yang iba't ibang gamit, no? When you use the pie, so dapat alam mo kung sino yung may pinakamalaking piece, no? Like let's say this is region 1, region 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So region 3 pala ang may pinakamalaking share. For example, ganon, no? So that's all for the correlation regression and also how to do the graph. So if you still remember, no, and you can always ask me kung unsaon siya, no, later. And for our next presentation, actually, we're going to have how to make, kasi ano kanina nag-show na ko, pero this I have actually a video on forecasting, no, like ano kaya ang susunod na mangyayari sa sales mo if you are having if you have a given data of 1 year or 5 months. So anong mangyayari or ano ang expected na outcome after 5 months given yung previous data or past data mo. So that's just forecasting, or parang nagtagna lang ka based sa nahitabo sa past, no? So although we have so much time, but maybe we will just reserve this one next meeting. So kung wala na mo'y pangutana or clarification, anyone? Anyone? Do you have any questions or clarification? So, okay na ba kung unsaon paghimo og chart sa Excel? Na-follow ninyo ako? Yes? Did you follow the example that I showed you? Ito. So, una
Yes
kailangan,
po, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
nakuha ninyo. So, very good. Okay, so I guess that's all, no? And it's just very short kasi we are just waiting for some of you na maka-report, no? And may I know if na I ready na mag-report for proposal? You just tell me so we can have the first reporting, no? But although may naa pa you actually mag-report on what do you call that, on special topics. And also I will select some examples that I can show you next time, no, after this topic on forecasting in Excel using linear regression. So after this, I can show you some more examples of how to present data, no, using tables and graphs. So I guess yun lang. Wala na mga tanong. Wala na. So I guess wala na. So thank you very much for joining with me in this session, and I hope to see you again next time. And please, you can actually start now with your grouping sa inyong research, no, proposal. You just choose kung anong topic meron kayo, and I hope you have chosen na kasi that's in preparation for your research. Okay, that would be all, and thank you, and bye-bye.
Po, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Wala tayong nakuha.